terms of so one of the things you wanted to talk about, and you talked a little bit about it already. So again, like if you've already mentioned it, apologies. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about bringing women into the prediction market space. I know you wanted to talk about it a little bit. Do you see prediction markets being accelerating in that area? Like, do you see that as huge growth in this? With PMs in terms of just bringing women in.
Yeah. Well, like I've asked, like I was really interested, and I asked a couple of prediction markets of like, what's the number of women, you know, using prediction markets? They're all like, oh, like we don't have any numbers. I don't know. We can't give you any numbers. And then like I think somebody tweeted under my, I wrote a tweet about like I assume there's like maybe 5% or like 10% max of like women in prediction markets, and somebody like sent their like chart of a prediction market. And it was like 3%, and I was like. Okay. Again, like I think especially like with I mean like right now like the biggest volume is sports. Women don't bet on sports. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. And maybe if like you're watching sports with your boyfriend and he plays the trade and you're like, okay, I might do that too. I've had guys around me like trade sports all my life. I never went into that. Like it's just something I never do. But then when the culture markets appear and the more they happen, I was like, oh, I'm interested in that topic. I consume social media every day. I might do it. So I think like a great way to onboard women if we just simply want to get them into culture markets is actually promoting it through Web 2, not Web 3. So like all the social media and Instagram and TikTok that we have, like all of the like celebrity gossip and collaborating with like Overheard New York or Overheard LA and all those other groups like on Instagram, like collaborating with them and trying to onboard people to like, hey, did you see about Kylie and Timothy? Like, do you want to bet on that as well? Like instead of just building it on crypto because I mean talking about it in the crypto space because like let's be honest like so many girls in the crypto space are not doing anything in the crypto space. They're just like there to get more men in the crypto space. But if we're talking about getting more women, I think we should really like think about the Web 2 audience and like the mainstream media. And then as I said, yeah, like the game psychology is a really important aspect because just culture markets, they're not gonna magically wake up one day and gonna be like, I'm gonna open Polymarket and make a bet on Taylor Swift. Like it's not gonna happen. So what is the way that it could happen? Like could we somehow implement it into fun events? Could we maybe we could collaborate with celebrities? Like you know how like big streaming companies like Kick and Twitch would collaborate with streamers to get more people into the space. What if we collaborate with a big celebrity? What if something like that happens? That's how we onboard people. That's how we tell them about that. And also it's not just like, oh, it's fun way bet money blah blah blah. It's actually an educational thing to educate people that hey, you can actually like think about the girlies and their gossip, like love for gossip, them giving an opportunity to know the news 2 weeks before they actually happen. That's a marketing strategy. Like that's something I would look into if I didn't know anything about prediction markets. So these are like the ways to go. Like think about how you can onboard the mainstream like people like using mainstream media. And yeah, and I think like also studying game psychology in general, of like we see things differently. So the UX wise, the way we like if I go on Polymarket and like the first thing I see is like, oh, limit orders, order books, this and that, like my eyes go everywhere because I don't have any you know trading background, and then I had to learn all of that. But let's say if you have something like very very easy for the women, like let's say a very simple UX like this that like then that's easier for them to do that, because first impressions is really important. Just like you go on a date with a guy, he leaves a bad first impression, you might not go on the next one. So when you go on something like that and you get a first good impression and it was easy for you and maybe you even won some money, or like the news came out and they were exactly the ones that you like traded, like that may onboard people on it.